Okay, so thank you everybody to be connected now. Like I say, our guest today, Jan and Jon, connected. So really welcome.
Thank you.
We are afternoon here. We are losing your your time in Canada, US. We don't know, but we are in Europe. We are the starting of the afternoon. Okay, so we are ready for our two hours of meeting today. So I see all cluster manager now connected. Mary's here, Stefan. I'm not sure from CCAT if someone is going to connect, and for sure, usually companies are welcome to our digital training, but everything is registered and recorded, and we let it available after the meeting. So we are collecting real materials for our companies to prepare them to well understand our challenge and difficulties in private procurement, USA and Canada. And today we reach our lesson 6, and with the part 2 of the module 2 on Canadian procurement process. And as discussed, we created 2 lessons. So today is part A, 2A, and we have 2 hours today. And after we move to the 14th of December with 2 hours more. Okay, so okay, just date for sure. Also the date here because it was not updated. So today is the 1st of December. Okay, so I run again my slide with the right date for today. So I give my screen again. Okay, so the right date now is here, and we start with this new module today. Okay, so I remember that to our cluster manager and companies that we are running now module 2 on public procurement, US and Canada. Today we continue in Canada, and we talk about eligibility requirements and assessment criteria. And okay, we are running today, so lesson 6A, and part 2 hours today, and 2 hours the 14th of December with lesson 6B, just to give you the schedule of our training where we are today. Okay, so we are reaching half of our training, so we are very happy about the effort of our teachers to help us in our route toward successful public procurement in USA, Canada, we hope. And so we start today with this new module. Okay, so we had lesson 5 last time, and lesson 6 today. So we have Jan and Jon, famous, connected, and for sure we let them to introduce themselves and the training topics for today, that are business development manager on the Canadian market. Okay, so I welcome again our cluster manager connected today, and as we are running especially for cluster manager, and for sure with the recorded version of this lesson to all companies that are interested to deeper their knowledge on the US and Canadian market. Okay, so it's a very short introduction, very short welcome to our teachers for today, and I give the floor to Jan about the lesson for today. Thank you very much to the cluster managers and company connected.
Thank you, Alberto. And again, good morning, everybody. Just I noticed in your schedule, so there is a little maybe things that need to be adjusted. So today is December 1st, and that's today that Johan will be presenting. And on the 14th, it's going to be actually a demo from Merck's platform. So just to clarify that point. So following all the different sessions we had before, I thought it would be very interesting now to get into a real life example. I came across Johan several weeks ago. I've known and I've followed what De Richebourg, the company he works for, has been doing in Canada, because it was a kind of a first to have a French, well, a European company in the waste collection being able to break into the market. And that was all done through some tenders. So I think that was very interesting to get his feedback and his experience. So Johan is going to share what it was for them to enter the Canadian market, how they did it, how they look at those different tenders, how they work with those different tenders, the do and don'ts and best practices. So Johan, the floor is yours, and thank you in advance for your testimony, and welcome to that morning presentation.
Thank you very much, Jan. And so good morning again, everyone. I will start by trying to share. Oh, I cannot share my screen.
You should be able to look at the bottom. You have a green button that says share screen.
Okay. Yes, perfect. I have it now. I hope you can see it now. Apparently, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone, again. My name is Johan Femius. I'm the business developer manager here in Canada for De Richebourg Environment Company. So I will start this presentation introducing you to De Richebourg, so what we are doing, our activity here in France and in the rest of the world. And I'm going to talk about the tendering process here in Quebec, more particularly with the do's and don'ts for any, I would say, European company that would like to enter the market should notice. So first of all, De Richebourg, so it's a French company that almost has 70 years now. It's a family-owned company, and the current president is actually the great son of the founder of the company. So what we do, we work mainly for industrial companies and municipalities, providing environmental services, just like waste collection, recycling of ferrous and metals materials, and that kind of services mostly. So we have more than 3,000 customers worldwide and more than 300 installations all over the world. So our activity is actually mainly based in France. So that would be, I would say, like more than a half. And we have some more activities throughout Europe. And we have some activities in Morocco as well, and very few in Northern America, as you can see in the map. So De Richebourg is actually a group divided in two main companies, I'd say. So the first one will be De Richebourg Environment, the one I'm working for. Which activities are mainly focused around recycling, waste collection, waste hauling, urban cleaning, and that kind of activities. While the other one, the Richebourg Multi-Service, is more focused on other activities that has to see with energy, green spaces, for instance. We even have an aeronautics subsidiary. So the activities can be like way different, and that's why it's important to make the difference between both companies. So our activity in the Richebourg environment is mainly focused, as I was saying, on waste collection, hauling, waste treatment as well, urban cleaning, and we have some contracts with different cities or regions, just like Paris, Marseille, Caen, for instance, in Normandy, and so it's quite known, I would say, in France, and everyone has already seen our trucks, I think, in Paris, for instance. So here in Canada, our activity. So I will explain you how we enter the market. So we started our activities here in 2016. So in 2016, our president got some contacts with some investment companies and companies helping their services for European companies to develop in Canada, about the opportunities that exist here. And we actually got to know that there were like a tender here in Montreal for waste collection and hauling for half of the city. And our business development team decided to set a proposal, and we actually won 2 districts. So we started here with Mercier and Côte-des-Neiges, which are like 2 different districts in Montreal. And that's how the adventure started, actually. So we had to rent an office, we had to rent a warehouse, we had to buy equipment, so basically trucks mainly. And it lasted, I would say, 1 year, more or less, between the time when we won the contract and when we started the operation. And today in 2022, we have more than 20 contracts. We have 2 offices, one in Montreal, which is the same as in the beginning, and another one in Gatineau. So Gatineau is actually a Quebec city, is one of the biggest cities in Quebec that borders Ottawa, so the capital, the federal capital of Canada. So we have more than 20 contracts, as I was saying, with several districts in Montreal. I'd say we're working in almost half of the districts of the city. We also have big contracts with other cities in the agglomeration, just like Laval or Longueuil. And we have more than 70 trucks also.
Johan?
Yes.
Maybe it would be interesting because you mentioned that it all started by kind of meeting with some people promoting business in Quebec. Maybe you should name them because those people are always a good way to get leverage in Canada, or at least in Quebec.
Exactly. It was actually Montréal International. And our president got contacts with someone from this company, and that's how he got the idea to come to enter the market here in Canada, and yeah, they help us quite a lot, and I think it was a good choice. As you can see, the evolution of our activities was really impressive from an external perspective in 6 years. And so yeah, so Montréal International was our contact here.
Okay. So if I may just add something on that. So in Canada, the different provinces are very pushy, I would say, to promote the territory. Quebec is doing a lot of work in French-speaking markets, especially, but all throughout Europe, actually. And there is 2 main agency. One is named Investissement Québec, so Quebec Invest, and so that's for the whole province of Quebec, and the other one is named Montreal International, and as Johan mentioned, they're here to promote Montreal as a city to do business, but you have the same type of agencies for different province. There is obviously one for Ontario, one that promotes Toronto and the surroundings, so the GTA. So all the big cities and all the provinces have that type of organization, which are interesting in the sense that they can create a little bit of leverage. But obviously the goal for them is not just to help you get business, which is actually what they don't do. What they do is to help you to create a subsidiary in Canada, and that they want to do ultimately, so to create business. But good organization to know about, as they can create some leverage, and we do work on several projects in partnership with them, where they provide maybe a little bit more of the political side, and we're able to provide more on the business side. But sorry, Johan, I just wanted to talk about
sorry, Johan and Jan, can I jump in also with one question? I see on that you write that you have written one office and that 2016. Does it mean that you opened a subsidiary there directly, or you just rented an office to manage the operations? Because I'm interested.
We actually opened a subsidiary. Yeah, we created a
Okay.
subsidiary, and then we decided to choose a place to rent so that we would have like one office and one warehouse in the same
Okay,
place.
so when you apply for the tender, you applied already with your subsidiary opened?
No, we didn't have the subsidiary yet. We had to create, well, more or less, I think we had to create to have to register a company. So yes, it's the contrary. Like we had to register a company so that we would have like a number, which is called Numéro Entreprise Québec. So register company here in Quebec, and that's how we could enter the market and sell our proposal. So yes, actually, yeah. But
okay, no, because I was curious, Jan, to understand.
So what you have to keep in mind is that that first contract was in 2016, which was just before CETA was signed. Okay. So
yes.
if the project would have been done in 2017, maybe the process would have been slightly different. At the end of the day, for a company like De Richebourg, they have no choice than to incorporate and create operation, because it's really operation. You don't just provide goods, you provide a local service. But yes, but I know where you're going with your question, Marta.
Yeah, it was, yes, it just, I know that for the service they are providing, it is something mandatory for them, of course, for the
but please keep in mind that first contract was before CETA.
Okay. No, because I was curious if maybe they have I participate in the tender with the legal headquarters in France, but this part was interesting for me.
I think back then, Johan, you had no choice but to incorporate first to be able to answer the tender. But today it will be a little different. You could answer the tender based in France and then create your operation if you win the contract.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I mean, Johan, you can elaborate on that if you'd like.
Actually, I'm not an expert on the topic, but yeah, I think we have to had as I was saying, like a number from Revenu Québec, so that just to register a company, so that we will be able to answer the tender. Yeah.
And again, that was because it was before CETA.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so why did we choose Quebec and not other provinces? So as I was saying, like we already had a contact with Montréal International, French language, because yeah, for French people doing business in French for sure is way easier. And we didn't actually just focus on Quebec. So we had some curiosity for sure to be able to enter to other provinces markets. And what happened is that we didn't want to just go to another province and start over. So we checked like all the contracts, and we are still like taking and looking for some more opportunities in other provinces. But we are really trying to find something specific. That I mean something that would offer long enough contract duration that will make us be able to how to say that. So yes, some offers that would offer like a long enough duration so that we would invest easily. So I mean, if we have a 2 years contract, that wouldn't be interesting for us to buy equipment, to buy an office, to buy a warehouse. That's the first point. The competitors, so the competitive market, how it is. If there's like already strong competitors that would be able to offer a very interesting price, while we as newly entering the market, we would not be able, because of the investment, provide a good price. So the competition will be harder. So that's another point we check when we want to check other like other contracts in other provinces. And for sure, like the administrative features, because Canada as a very federal state is actually quite different for sure for most European countries, so that every province is actually like another country. So when you're entering another province, like entering a new country with new rules, new laws, and that's why it's a big change for us. That will be a big change for us. So we checked big cities just like Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and for sure Toronto, Ottawa. And we actually never found a contract that would be interesting enough for us so far. So that's why we're still in Quebec. Everything works well in Quebec so far. So that's why we're still focusing on the Quebec market.
And if I may, actually, before you arrived, Johan, there was another gentleman. His name is Gauthier Le Chevalier. Gauthier was here in Toronto in our office, and he spent about 1 year looking for some interesting contract outside of Quebec with no success. And as you described, for different reasons, but because sometimes first of all, there was very little tenders and very little contract to come to be open. And then the other components and the competitive side as mainly what was not interesting for the Richebourg. But yeah, I just want to put the emphasis that the company has tried and has put someone full-time for 1 year trying to identify some interesting contracts. So I think it's a big part, again, from what I've explained to you guys in the past, how Quebec is divided in different provinces with their different powers, and the fact that it's almost every time like entering a new market, unless you work with the federal government. But I think it's a very good illustration of how segmented the Canadian market can be.
Exactly. And we are experiencing this currently in Gatineau, for instance, because as I was saying, Gatineau is really at the border with Ottawa, the federal capital, that is part of Ontario, so another province. And we can even experience some competitiveness between provinces. For instance, since the rules, the laws, and the wages are different in Ontario, we have some employees that would rather work in Ontario instead of Quebec, for instance. So the lack of workers, which is something very strong here in Canada, I will talk later about it, is already something, and we can even see some competitiveness between the provinces, and we lose people that would rather work in Ontario where the wages are higher. So that's another example of how is the environment in Canada, in the business market, I'd say. So yeah.
It's living in Gatineau and working in Ottawa, it's kind of the jackpot, right? You get the low cost of living in Gatineau and the higher wage in Ottawa. It's almost like living just next to Switzerland in Europe, and working in Switzerland and coming back to your home country to live. So low cost of living, but higher wages. So that's
exactly, yeah.
That puts the market under some tension.
Yeah, and a very simple example, a driver. So we would pay, for instance, a driver, I don't know, like $25 per hour. Will get $10 more, so 35 in just across the bridge in Ottawa. So for sure, people will find the best ways for them. Yeah.
And since you mentioned the wages and you mentioned $25 per hour, I just want to jump on that very quickly, because I know that in Europe, typically people, when they talk about salaries, they will talk about monthly salaries. Here in Canada, it is very, very common to talk about hourly salaries, especially if in all operation work. So that's something to keep in mind, because when you answer a tender and and you have to look at wages, please keep in mind that it's typically more dollars per hour than it is dollar per month. So sometimes it can make a difference, but in any case, when we were talking about adapting your offer to the reality of the market, that's something that should be done. Meaning that, adapt your offer based on what people are doing here in Canada, which is per hour.
Exactly.
And then, so just sorry, and then you of course has to estimate the number of hours needed for the specific service in order to go to the, okay.
Yes, definitively. And at the end of the day, it's just, taking the hourly wage multiplied by 40 and you get your weekly wages, and times 4 you get your monthly wages. So it is the same thing, but it's just in terms of your sales pitch or marketing pitch, when you want to Canadianize your offer, you should try to express it in an hourly wage rather than on a monthly, like what we do in Europe. And there is a couple of reasons to that. The first one is, here in Canada, people are paid every 2 weeks. So we don't get our salary once a month. We get our salary every 2 weeks, and sometimes every week in some jobs, but typically every 2 weeks. So that's a first difference, which does increase a little bit your administrative cost, because instead of generating the pay only once per month, you have to generate your pay twice per month. So that's a little bit more work for your payroll staff. That's the first thing. The second thing is one of the reasons it's expressed in hourly wage, because there is way more flexibility in the workplace. And so let's say you have you have less work. It is very common to tell someone, an employee, especially in a factory, to tell him on the Wednesday night that, well, we're not very busy tomorrow, so you don't need to come, you can only come back on Monday. And that's accepted here. So the people will not be paid for the Thursday and Friday, and they will come back on the Monday. So depending on the contract, you have more or less flexibility, but that's also explained why everything is expressed in hourly wage rather than a monthly wage. So two things, because of the pay frequency and also because of the flexibility in hours.
So yeah, that's a thing. And I don't know for other provinces, but another example here in Quebec, some people will have 40 hours work contract while other would have 35. So that's another thing. And that would be ruled sometimes by some working organization that we called comité paritaire in French. I don't know how I would translate it, paritary committee, I don't know. And that's not something you could change by yourself. So some salary wages that will be ruled by this kind of committees, the number of hours that they would work also. So yeah, that's some things you have to take into account when speaking about like salaries, wages, and employees in general. Yeah.
And Johan, those comités paritaires, or is it the equivalent as union, or it's different, and how they work together?
It's kind of a union, but there will be like one for all of the workers for the same kind of occupation of work. Yeah. So there will be like one for the what we call the loader. So people like transporting the waste. There will be one for the drivers, and these people would rule really the salary, the minimum wage for the profession, and yeah, the number of vacation they would have, and they would fix the minimum, and that will be for a certain geographical zone. So we would have like a committee for Montreal agglomeration. We would have another one for Gatineau. If we're going to Trois-Rivières, maybe we won't have a committee. So we will be able, and we will have the flexibility to put the salary we want. So that would really depend on the not even like the region or the province, but the city actually. Yeah.
So I think that's very, very important. And thank you for sharing that, because that means when you answer a tender, you better be aware of the local regulation around that, because if you make your price based on people working at $20 an hour for 40 hours a week with 2 weeks of vacation, and then when you start hiring people, you realize that there is a comité paritaire and you have no choice but to pay them at least 25, only 35 hours a week,
Exactly.
and 5 weeks of vacation. That's going to make a big difference in your budget. So companies need to be aware, and that's one of the things we talked about on the very first module 1, part 1, is know your to understand and to know very well your regulation environment is key in many instances, and can be the regulation for your goods, products, service, employees, but the whole regulation environment has to be very well understood to make sure that your offer makes sense.
So yeah, so I put a slide with what we are like actually providing as a company to our employees. So we decided to have new equipment, so new trucks. We focused on local recruitment, which is something you're really encouraged to do when you're arriving this kind of market. And we could provide some private insurance, for instance, for the employees, which is something that companies for certain numbers of employees have to provide to their employees. So basically, here in Canada, and I think it's the case in most provinces, the province will provide a public like a health system for everyone. But when someone will be working for a company with a certain number of employees, the company will have to provide this health system to its employees. And each company will have to choose what kind of insurance and health system insurance they will choose for the employees. And we decided, for instance, to offer them a very European-like health insurance, private insurance, which is not really something that common here, but that the kind of things, for instance, that will make your company more, I don't know, like more competitive, more competitive with the others. That will be something people will look at a lot here in Quebec. So for sure, like the wage you provide, and also like the kind of insurance you provide. So yeah, that's one of the on the mechanism you have to be more competitive with the others in the market.
So yeah, and actually, when you look at any job offer right now, and it was maybe not the case 5-10 years ago, but now it's in every job offer. It's never just wages; it's always wages and benefits. Exactly. And the benefit part is the part that people are actually looking at, even more than the wages. Definitively, if there is a big difference in the wages, that's they will go for the highest one. But the benefit part of wages and benefits is huge. As Johan mentioned, there is a universal coverage for healthcare in Canada, which is different for each province, but the basic service are offered and are free. But typically the coverage for eyes and teeth is very bad. So dentist and ear and ophthalmologist is very poor, if any. And so that's one of the big part of those health insurance that Johan is referring to, is to offer a full coverage even on glasses and teeth. So that's another big one when you're answering to a tender here that will require you to have some employees in Canada. It's not only wages, it's wages and benefits. And the benefit, again, huge part in what you have to offer to your candidates.
And yes, and I think Jan told you about this, but most markets are very dynamic here in Canada now, and there's a lot of competitiveness, and there's a lack of employees like in every field, I'd say, and that's why we really focus on this, the benefits, and of course the salary. So that's something you have to consider, really. Yes. So now I will be switching to the bid tenders process. So I will talk about SEAO, which is actually the bid platform, the official bid platform here in Quebec. So actually, SEAO was created by the government of Quebec so that companies will be able to access easily to public and administrative or public-related companies' bids. And it's a platform that works quite well. I mean, it comprises most or let's say 100% of the offers in the market. And so I will show you how it works. So I will open it. I might, okay, so I will change my, okay, perfect. So here is the platform, SEAO. So SEAO is actually my first work tool, I'd say. It's the platform I go to every day. So it's my, okay, what's the offers today? SEAO, that's the automatic.
Johan?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I see that on the top right, you can change it to English, just so it's easier for everybody to follow, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Thank you.
So here you have, I'd say, your dashboard in SEAO. So how it works? So first of all, when we created our profile in SEAO, SEAO asked us what kind of services we're interested in. So here are what they call services. If you're looking for health and social services, environmental services, for sure that's something that's interested in. Transportation, travel and relocation, utilities, leasing. You have in construction, building, civil engineering, and for sure if you work in health, you will have like health kind of bids, for instance. So first you will have to tick all the services you're interested in, and when you do that, every day you're connecting to your SEAO, SEAO will show you what are the bids of the day, what are the ones you haven't seen yet, the total for sure, what you have in Quebec, and some others that will be part of the federal, that will be like federal administration bids. And so that's basically what you see first. So what I'm doing, for instance, every day is to check what are the one I didn't see. So since last visit, what happened? What did they insert? So for instance, I have this. So these are like bids. I can open one. For instance, you have the city, the montagne, briefly the kind of service they're asking for. So this is cleaning and inspection of, how to say that, égout, yeah, maybe can.
Sewage system.
Sewage, exactly. And when I enter the bid, what I will have for sure will be the reference. So if tomorrow I'm looking for the bid because I don't remember where I put it, I will need the reference number, the time limit. So it says, okay, I have 40 days to send my proposal. Publication day for sure.
So it was published yesterday and you have 14 days.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's not exactly like public procurement in Europe that you have at least 30, 60 days to answer.
It really depends. What happened here is like every city, whether it be a city like Montreal that has thousands of tenders every month, and has an expertise in this, will put a number of days. It can be another city of 200 inhabitants that is not really used to that and will put 14 days, for instance. And as the company, you can ask for more time easily. You just have to say, okay, so I think it's...
you can
Oh, yeah.
ask to extend the time limit for the presentation.
Very easily. Actually, for instance, you have the time limit for today's. You have the final day for receipt of tenders, which is here. And sometimes, but they don't have it here. They put you the last day to ask things, to ask questions, to ask for a report of the day, for the submission for the proposal. And that's something very, very easy, automatic. You just have an email. You just write your request, and someone will answer you, and okay, no problem, we change the date, the due date, because you think it's not enough. That's something very, very common. For instance, we had to for the last Montreal proposal in terms of waste collection, for sure, the due date was 1 month after the publication of the offer. And we actually extended it for two more months. So that gives you an example, yeah.
And it's sufficient that one potential bidder asks for the extension,
One.
or
Just one.
but
Yeah,
if other opposes, because it's just
No.
enhancing the competition.
They will not even know. Actually,
Ah.
when you ask for an extension, you ask directly to the providing agent of the city directly. So he will be the one managing the tender, and
Okay.
will be able to change the date, the time, and you can say it's not enough. You can say you're missing one document, so they will give you extra time easily. Yeah.
Okay.
And generally, you cannot ask for a report less than 7 days before the due date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's just one thing in general. So yeah, that's something very common, because 14 days can sometimes, that can be not really sufficient.
But Johan,
yeah.
when you ask a question to the agent, isn't the question public after that? Like every time you ask a question, it's a question, or is the answer that's shared to everybody?
Okay, so as I was saying, so you can ask for a report of the due date, and you can actually also ask for questions. So you can say, okay, so I don't have this information. I think it's missing an information. That's the wrong information. So you can also send a message to the same person and ask for your question. Okay, today I want to know, I don't know, it's missing the number of tons for this district for recycling goods or whatever. So you ask your question to the same email, and they will come to you by replying your email, and they will publish what we call an addenda for all the players, the competitors, and say, okay, someone, so they won't put the name of your company, but someone asked for this question. This was the question, and here's the answer we gave the one who asked for it. So,
And this person can also suggest a new solution to the city, or new ideas to add in the public procurement that will be useful also for our protesters. So is it open also for new suggestions?
sorry, I didn't really.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Antonino.
Okay. So is it open also for the participants in the, you can hear me? Yes or no?
No, it's
Don't worry. Not a problem, go on.
Okay, no
I'll write
problem.
in
Okay, so you can ask question, you can ask for report of the due day, and you only have to send an email to the providing responsible, I'd say in the city, and they will easily like answer your question and publish it for everyone for sure. And if the question, for instance, is not relevant, or you're asking for too much information, they will send the question anyway, so that everyone will be aware of it, and they will put their answer like, we cannot answer to this. So yeah, but everything is very transparent. Yeah. Okay, so this is the offer. So the dashboard. Yes.
Johan, so I've asked Antonella to put a question in the chat since we couldn't hear her very well.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And so a question was, is it possible to suggest the public authorities some new solutions?
No, you cannot. I mean, like, well, I'm answering maybe too fast. What would be a solution for you? I mean,
Well,
like, oh yeah. So for instance, if they say
If there is a new technology, a new
exactly,
that they can add in the public procurement, so it could be useful
yeah,
also for other.
yeah, that's something you can do. Like, yeah, you're saying that we have to provide this kind of service, doing this and this with that kind of technology. You can send them a message and say, but maybe it will be interesting to use another technology. So can you be more flexible in this, because maybe we want to provide this kind of technology or solution? That's something you can do. Yes. Yeah. In our job, for instance, they can say, okay, for this kind of sector, you will have to put 6 trucks, for instance, 6 of this kind of trucks, and we can say, okay, but we think that it will be more interesting to put 4 of another kind of trucks, and that's something that would work for sure. Yeah, yeah, for them.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yes. So yeah, so this will be like the dashboard for an offer. So you have everything. So the name of the city, the place where it will be open, like the proposal will be opened. And you have here the contact. So if you want to write a request, you have the email right here, for instance. And so here you have a brief explanation on what kind of service they're looking for, the due date, which time, and here you have the documents. So here are the document, the one you will be working with, you will need. So what you have to do is you have to order it, for instance. So you have to order. You can do it this way. And then it goes like this. So they will give you
pay for them.
You have to pay, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that Jan mentioned to us that we are not very used to in Europe, that you're paying for public documentation.
Yeah, yeah. So you actually have a monthly subscription to SEAO. I think it's something like $6 a month, more or less, for this platform here in Quebec. And for every document, for every offer you would want to give a proposal for, you would have to pay, and they will make you pay every document, as you can see. So this is the specification document, which is $2. The maps that are $156, etc. And you will have to pay for them. and they will send everything to you by email or by mail, and that's how it works. Yes.
So Jan, so also registration on the platform has its cost. So it's like you said, it's like, I don't know, you register to create your profile and you pay for being on the platform, right? It's
Exactly.
like monthly or annually or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you pay additionally to download or get access to the public documentation. And then when you're applying, you pay also for application to be able to apply or not?
No.
No,
You
no.
only
So
have
only
to pay
to
for
get
the
the
documents,
documents.
and then
Okay.
it ends. Yeah.
Okay.
Then you give your proposal. You don't have to pay anymore. No.
Okay.
So
So
just
what
for
you
the-
see here, like, sorry, just what you see here, like, is $26.54 is the whole package.
It's the whole package for this precise offer.
Okay,
Some
for this
offers
call.
yeah, bigger contracts like Montreal, big contracts will be $25, for instance. So that will be the range between, I'd say, I don't know, like $5 and $30-$40 for just to be able to answer the tender. Yeah, to get the document and answer it. And when you buy it, yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but the thing is, you can access that information that you're showing us without paying any monthly fee. The very
Yeah.
first level of information, you just need to create an account. You don't have to pay anything. Yeah, just to clarify that point.
Yeah.
So, sorry, because now I'm confused. So to register yourself on the CAO platform, you don't have to pay.
No, that's free.
Just to have the profile. But if you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
apply and have access to the tenders, you need to pay this fee of $6 per month.
yeah, there's a monthly subscription for it. So
Okay.
then after registering.
Okay.
Yeah, but what does it give you, Johan, the monthly subscription? Because I'm not paying, and I'm able to see that. I think the monthly subscription, it's when you want to start to put some alerts and things like that, no?
Maybe to have the dashboard that Johan showed
Oh,
us,
yeah.
that the tenders published, the tenders that you missed. So this is personal, maybe this is customized service.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we are paying, and that's why. But maybe yes, if you just want to have the very basic without anything, you won't have to pay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And just another thing for both of you, because I see that you use the same platform but with different, let's say, services. The profile, when you will register, it was validated by somebody. So it means that do they check if it's really you, your company, if or it's, you know, everybody can do it and then put the data as it wish.
Actually, the only thing they're requiring that will prove you have a company would be the NEC. They will ask for your NEC, which is the number of your registered company. That's the only thing. So yes, that's actually the way you will have to show that you're a company. Yeah.
So the NEC, but the NEC is the number of the registration in Canada, right, Jan?
In Quebec, yeah, and I think there's like
Quebec.
In other provinces, the equivalent.
So only the companies that are registered in this NEC register can be registered on the CAO platform.
I don't think so. No, I think you can put probably a TVA, sorry, value added tax number for if you're not from Canada, your European one.
Can we maybe a little later on, or I don't know when you wish, just show how is the registration page look like without any registrations, just like blank one, the new one.
Yeah, we can look after Johan's.
Great.
It's quite a long time I'm registered, so I must say I don't exactly remember, and because I'm I'm registered in Canada. It's I've done the process.
Yeah, because
with
this is the
Canadian way, but,
question that I think it's interested for the European companies that they do not have subsidiaries in Canada,
Yeah,
or they're only
I
thinking
can-
about it.
I can log out and we can see, yeah, for instance, I haven't subscribed yet, for instance, if I open this, and then you have this page. So it says you have different kind of subscription registration.
Let's see on the first column on the left.
Yeah, this one, yeah, the basic registration doesn't have a monthly subscription indeed, yeah. And if you choose this,
So what happened, Marta? Sorry, if you can just go back, Johan.
yeah,
So yeah, I remember now because I read it. So if you go through the basic registration, which is the one I created for myself, you have no monthly subscription, but every time you order something, you have an extra $20 per order, which you don't pay if you pay the $6.95 per month.
Yeah.
So basically, if you think that you're only going to reply to one tender in the year, you just take the basic registration. As soon as you start to have 3 or more, you're better off taking the monthly subscription. So that's where the difference is mainly.
Okay.
so yeah. And if you choose, for instance, the basic registration, they will ask for your organization type. So you have to put if you're a supplier, legal person, cooperative, public agency, for instance. We'll
If
ask
you want the one below, Johan, if you go back in the menu déroulant.
Maybe
Oh,
you will
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here.
You have, okay, supplier, contractor, or service provider.
Look at the second one. The second one says without a business location in Quebec.
Yeah. So when you put this, they say, then they ask for your NEC, and they say if you do not know the NEC, you can access the Registre des Entreprises. Okay. So they will ask you for a NEC anyways, or what is that? Yeah.
No, I think it's not mandatory because it doesn't have this asterisk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not mandatory, yeah. And that you put, yeah, the number, the name, address. Yeah, I think it's...
Go.
If you go back up, you can choose other country.
Okay, the format dates from
country. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can choose. They will ask for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can choose another country. So yeah, I think you don't actually need the NEC, the registration number.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But to answer your question, Marta, for I think it was SAP Ariba. So for SEO, I don't recall, but for SAP Ariba, between the time I created my profile and the time my profile was accepted, there was like 24 hours. They reviewed it. So I don't know if it's automatic, if someone is actually looking
because
at
I was asking for this because if you of course has the NEC number, it's easy because they are going to the register and they see that you are registered there, and I suppose you put all the information, documents and so on. If you are not putting this kind of registration numbers, at the end you can write whatever you want. So there is no really check, and the checks are going on during the tender, I suppose, that they are verifying if you are really existing.
But yeah, that's a thing. But so far in most of the offers, if I'm right, they ask for your registration proof. Yeah. Yeah, I think in most of them, yeah, they will ask for you to show your registration number and information. Okay. But I'm not sure if legally they can ask you for this registration anyways, or if it's like for a certain amount of contract or not. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. No worries about it. And in your company, you got the NEC registration when already you had the subsidiary opened, right? So you opened the subsidiary and you registered.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, so this is for the, so yeah, that will be like the basic registration. And then you will have to choose the services, so the categories that will interest you, so that you will be able to have them in your dashboard, as I was showing previously. And yeah, basically every day as you open SEAO, they give you your categories, and you will see the new offers for each categories, and you will be able to consult briefly what kind of service they're asking. And if you're interested in it, you can buy it. You will then receive electronically all the documents, and yeah, you have everything to be able to work.
Johan,
No, just you receive also the email notifications from the platform. So you can set that you want the platform to notify you online, or you have to enter it to see the dashboard and the information that you missed. Email by email.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, they don't notify you if there are like new offers.
Okay.
You will have to check the platform. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because, well, I think honestly, I don't think that will be interesting to have this kind of options, because you will have a lot of emails then, because yeah, there's a lot of offers. Sometimes you will see that don't necessarily have to do precisely with the categories you've chosen, because I don't know why, but the city didn't really put it in the appropriate category. So yeah, so most of the offers are not really what you're looking for, even if you're like, you have subscribed to this category. Yeah.
Okay, so you are daily, you start your work and you
on
go
a
there
daily
and see.
basis. Yeah, I check SEO and yeah, and check the new offers. Sometimes I do my keywords, for instance, like this. I will open it again.